بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Allah Ta'ala is bringing another proof. إِنَّ اللَّهَ فَالِقُ الْحَبِّ وَالنَّوَى. Verily, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is the one فَالِقُ الْحَبِّ وَالنَّوَى. Falaqa, it means for something to be broken, for something to be rent asunder, to be cracked open. So Allah Ta'ala is فَالِقُ الْحَبِّ وَالنَّوَى. He splits the grain and the pit. The hab is the grain, and the nawa is the pit, the seed of the dates. So if we look at, this is such an amazing, thing to witness, that you have a seed. It literally looks like a dead rock. If you even see some of the, seeds that come from the fruits, like an avocado. If you've seen the seed of an avocado, it's completely closed and it's rock hard. And what happens is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's qudra, you take this, you put it in the earth. I mean, we don't think about these things. You take that rock, it's completely like dead. And in the next ayah, Allah Ta'ala says, Allah is the one who brings the living from the dead. And Allah brings the dead from the living. Literally it's like a dead rock. But when you put it inside of the ground, this is the power and the qudrat of Allah that, we really don't even think. And from that dead, Allah brings life. And these are again signs where people say, how will Allah bring the dead back to life on the Day of Judgment? Allah Ta'ala is showing us in everything. Even in the fruits that we eat, that apple that you eat that has seeds inside, that seed falls inside of the ground, who is the one who splits it open? Yani this process, it's a very scientific, a very amazing process. Who is the one who does that? Yani there has to be something, yani in anything that we see, how does light come inside of this light bulb? The electricity that it becomes infused. There has to be some energy, there has to be some source of power. We know that, you put gas in the car and there's a combustion in the engine and, something, and then there's there's a whole system. There has to be some energy, something that breaks, something that, splits, something that causes that friction, something that it causes that explosion, that friction, that breaking. And it doesn't make sense. You take the seed, it's completely dead, you stick it in the ground, which is also dead. You stick it in the ground, which is also dead. The seed is also dead. Obviously, we're inside there are millions of organisms that are living things. We're not talking about but I'm talking about from a parent, when you look at it from an outside perspective. And you stick this dead thing in another dead thing, and then automatically, just the system of Allah Ta'ala, it splits open. Which direction does it go? It goes up. How come it doesn't go this way? Who told it to go up? You know that when you stick that seed in the ground, it doesn't go like this. It goes up, depending on whatever the thing is, but usually there will be a portion of it that sticks up. And the ground could be as hard as a rock, or the ground could become, almost, very difficult. But it literally, that small little leaf, right, it will crack open. It's so delicate that if you step on it, you're going to crush it. If you walk on it, you broke it. If you step on it, you crush it. But it has so much power that actually, like a spear, it breaks through the soil. It breaks through the dirt. I mean, this is such a concept. The top shoots up to give fruit or to become that tree that is going to provide for us. And then after some time, the bottom also shoots down. And that bottom part becomes the roots from which it takes the nutrients and the water, which will then, eventually, give nourishment to the tree or to that plant. Imagine Allah, this whole process that we see. It's mind-boggling. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ فَالِقُ الْحَبِّ وَالنَّوَى. Allah is the splitter of the seed and the grain. Allah is the one who splits that seed. Allah is the one who splits the grain. And from that, literally we see the dead, the living coming out from the dead, from that rock, from that stone, from that dead. Literally, you look at that, if you see that avocado, we're talking about the avocado today. If you see that avocado stone on the street, you think it's like a rock, and it's hard, rock hard. The kids were doing a project at home. We were doing some science project at home right now. So they're supposed to take a avocado seed. You put two, not Q-tips, the toothpick. You put the toothpick inside in a cup of water. You make a hole and you just leave it there. And you see this process of إِنَّ اللَّهَ فَالِقُ الْحَبِّ وَالنَّوَى. This rock cracks open from inside and something comes out from the top and from the bottom, exactly what Allah Ta'ala is saying. It cracks open. And if you crack it open and you try to put something inside, nothing. Yani the system of Allah is unbelievable. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the splitter of the grain and the seed. Similarly, you look at a date. Every date that you eat, there is another date inside, which is a tree. Ajib qudrat of Allah. Every date that you eat, you open the inside, there's another seed, there's another tree. And every date, Allah Ta'ala provides us another tree. That if you were to take that, and you were to plant it, and you were to nourish it, and if you were to water it, and if you were to care for it, that date that you just ate, that the other tree to provide you another 1,000 dates, for God knows 100 years, or however long, how long do they live? Maybe, I'm thinking 50 years, 60 years, 70 years. How many dates is that? In that one. I mean, just think about this. This is mind-boggling. Whose system is this? Allah Ta'ala is telling us, oh, mushrikeen, how can you worship idol? Or, oh, atheists, how can you deny the existence of God? Who is this? What is this? There was a documentary I was watching regarding coral. You know, coral is this white stuff that grows on the ocean rock surface. And it's very, very rough, but it's alive. They say if you take a piece of coral, like this is like a bunch of coral, you break it off. They're in communities, they're in colonies, they grow together. So there's a specific time that the corals on the coral reefs, they actually bloom like flowers. And if you take a portion of that and you break it, wherever, in Hawaii or wherever it is, and you take it to another side of the world and put it inside of a bucket of water, it will bloom and open up at the same time that its colony blooms and opens up thousands of miles away in the island coasts of Hawaii. Because they have a method of communication. And the amazing thing is, people witness these miracles. Every day, you look at a tree is a miracle. أَوَلَمْ يَنْظُرُوا إِلَى السَّمَاءِ فَوْقَهُمْ كَيْفَ بَنَيْنَاهَا وَزَيَّنَّاهَا وَمَا لَهَا مِنْ فُرُوجٍ. The sky is a miracle. وَالْأَرْضَ مَدَدْنَاهَا وَأَلْقَيْنَا فِيهَا رَوَاسِيَ وَأَنْبَتْنَا فِيهَا مِنْ كُلِّ زَوْجٍ بَهِيجٍ. And the earth, that you're walking on it, but it's so hard that you're not going to sink inside, and it's so soft that little tiny grass shoots out of it so easily. What is this? And in that earth that is so hard but it is so soft, who is this who does that? Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one. وَأَنْبَتْنَا فِيهَا مِنْ كُلِّ زَوْجٍ بَهِيجٍ. Every pear and every variety of different types of fruits and vegetables Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you. And then Allah ta'ala says, the sky is a sign for you. The earth is a sign for you. All of this is what? تَبْصِرَةً وَذِكْرَى لِكُلِّ عَبْدٍ مُنِيبٍ. It is a reminder and an insight for every slave who is seeking and who is inclining towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Allah ta'ala says, يُخْرِجُ الْحَيَّ مِنَ الْمَيِّتِ. Allah brings the living out from the dead. When you look at that rock, it looks like it's dead. When you look at that drop of fluid that comes out of the body of a man, you look at that, where is the child in that? Where is the baby? Where is the human being that is going to come from that? If you look at it, it looks like a, lifeless thing. Here we know that from scientific perspective, right? We know that there is, hundreds of organisms or hundreds of it's alive, but it seems lifeless in the sense that when you look at it, it's not animate. It is a lifeless thing, and any from its apparent. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from that seemingly lifeless organism, Allah brings an organism that is so animate that it's amazing. وَيُخْرِجُ الْمَيِّتِ مِنَ الْحَيِّ. And He brings the dead from the living. Right? How does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring the dead from the living? You have a date that you ate. You have a fruit that you're eating. It's alive, but inside of it is a dead seed. That dead, from the living Allah brings the dead, and from the dead Allah ta'ala brings the living. You see, like the system of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ذَلِكُمُ اللَّهُ. This is your Allah. فَأَنَّا تُؤْفَكُونَ. Where are these people wandering? What are these people worshipping? They witness all of this whole system, this whole process. People are witnessing with their own eyes. How do they reject Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? فَالِقُ الْإِصْبَاحِ. And He is the splitter of the morning light. This is also another miracle. When you see how the sun rises and how the sun sets every single day, this is a miracle in and of itself. This system that has been ongoing for literally millions of years. We don't know how long. As long as the sun and the moon and the earth and these planets have been in orbit, this system of Allah Ta'ala where the sun rises and the sun sets in exact synchronized time and a specific time that is set, this is also a miracle of Allah Ta'ala. فَالِقُ الْإِصْبَاحِ. He is the one who splits the morning light from the darkness. وَجَعَلَ اللَّيْلَ سَكَنًا. And who is the one who gave us the night for calm and sukoon. وَالشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ حُسْبَانًا. And Allah Ta'ala gave us the sun and the moon for enumeration of our days, of our nights, of our years, of our months. This is what the sun and the moon Allah Ta'ala has given it us for. Allah gave, literally imagine these celestial bodies. The sun, the moon, the stars. All of these things have literally been subjugated. And these things have been, decreed and created for the khidmat of insan. Allah Ta'ala is saying is the night is for you to rest. And the day is for you to work. And the sun and the moon is so that you can keep the count of your days and your months and your weeks and your years. All of this Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did for what? So that we recognize Him. All of this He did for what? So that we know Him and that we recognize Him and that we realize that there is a Creator, and this, everything that is around us is literally, thousands and hundreds of miracles. And we should teach this to our children. And this is the problem with the culture that we live in today, is that we're so divorced and separated from nature. And you see, the people that live in nature, the people that live in the mountains, the people who are farmers, the people who are, in touch with, the land, in touch with the heavens, these are people who everything about them is different. And the people who live in the city, and they do not think about the sun, the rising of the sun, the setting of the sun, the trees, the mountains, the creation. And this is why, right? Everything that, we are pulled to is a distraction. And this distraction takes us away from what? From witnessing a miracle every single day. This is the biggest distraction, because it takes us away from witnessing every minute. Allah Ta'ala says the heavens is a miracle. The sky is a miracle. The stars are a miracle. The sun and the moon, literally, it's like a light switch, turning it on and off. The alternating of the night and the day. The splitting of the seed, the trees, the fruits, and all of these things that we're going to be talking about today. Every single one of these things is a miracle. But what happens, right? Still people say, oh, where's the proof for God? Where's the proof for God? This is every minute and every second that we are on this earth, as we are even sitting, there is a miracle for us. Right? How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the night. جَعَلَ اللَّيْلَ سَكَنًا. Allah made the night for calm, for rest. وَالشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ حُسْبَانًا. And the sun and the moon to reckon the nights and to reckon the days and the weeks and the months and the years. ذَلِكَ تَقْدِيرُ الْعَزِيزِ الْعَلِيمِ. This is the decree of a powerful and all-knowing creator. In other words, if a person thinks about this, that how does this sun and the moon, they're like, they have the salat timetables? There's perpetual. It's perpetual timetable. Right? July 15th, 1901 to July 15th, 2020, sunset was at the same time in that specific region or that part of the earth or where. Somebody just think about that. Literally, it's like programming. Like somebody programs your watch that, okay, I'm going to wake up for Fajr, I'm going to put my clock, okay, 5:15, put my clock 5 o'clock. It's like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala literally timed it, put a alarm clock for us. This is the word, what Allah is saying, ذَلِكَ تَقْدِيرُ الْعَزِيزِ الْعَلِيمِ. This is the taqdeer, this is the decree, the programming. I like to use the word the programming. قَدَّرَ يُقَدِّرُ to mean to program something specifically. This is the programming and the design of a mighty and infinitely wise creator. Because how can things be like such precision be timed? Somebody just think about that. Think about the rising of the sun. The rising and the setting of the sun for thousands of years has been the same thing. This is my question. Who programmed it? There's a programmer. Now with this whole DNA, the DNA in every single person, the chromosomes, right? 46 chromosomes that every human being has, or the DNA strands that are inside of a human body, and all of these various different things that we find within us, it's brought them to the conclusion that this has been programmed. You've been programmed. It's like somebody, just the same way that they program a computer, the same programming exists within our DNA structure. And this is exactly the wording, ذَلِكَ تَقْدِيرُ الْعَزِيزِ الْعَلِيمِ. This is the decree of a very mighty, powerful, and infinitely wise creator. It cannot just happen on its own.